At number 3, well, one of the number 3s, is Catherine. And Catherine is a game not about saving the world or saving the damsel in distress or anything like that. Catherine is a simple game about a guy who cheated on his fiancée, and he has a nightmare every night. And to wake up the next day, he's got to solve a puzzle in his nightmare to wake up the next morning. And it doesn't sound very fun, but it really is. Other than the puzzle sequences that are at night, during the day you go into the bar and just talk to your friends about general stuff, and you can also help save the other patrons of the bar because they're having nightmares too, and if they don't solve the puzzle, they're not going to wake up either. So you got to kind of boost their confidence and get them along. It's like, you can do this, buddy. You get some achievements along the way if you save them all. Just saying. Surprisingly, it's a lot of fun. It really makes you think, because you have to choose between one or the other girl. The one girl's like, she wants to settle down, get married, usual kind of girl. And the other one is kind of devilish and rambunctious, a little whorish, to say the least. And you gotta choose between one and the other girl, and the game asks you opinion questions about your various opinions towards love and marriage and stuff, and that reflects how the ending goes. And for once, I answered honestly a lot of the questions. In most games, I just do all the good answers because I want the good ending, but in this one, I was compelled to answer honestly, and I got a good ending still. So it says a lot about my morals and beliefs, I guess. Well, not really, but next we have Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney: The Trials and Tribulations. I already put the first Ace Attorney on this list, so you have a general understanding of what the series is about. You're just a lawyer defending people. But this one really upped the ante, I thought, because there is a single main villain as opposed to just every case being in its own world. There is a single villain now. Well, there are 2 cases that aren't related to the overarching plot, but 3 of the 5 cases are like on a main plot, and that really helped the series, I thought, because the other games, each case exists in its own world pretty much, and they don't really relate. And it was originally supposed to be the end of the trilogy. There weren't supposed to be any more after Trials and Tribulations. So the fight with the main antagonist, that's the antagonist in 3 of the 5 cases, was really satisfying, and it provided a good closure to the series, even though they've made more sense. But for the original trilogy, it made good closure on the series. Next, at number 2, because I tied Catherine and Trials and Tribulations. I couldn't decide between the 2 of them. I tied them both at number 3. At number 2, we have Final Fantasy X. I don't know why I like this game, to be honest. I think it's just the story, because it has a lot of flaws. Like today, it doesn't look very good by today's standards. Like just the regular gameplay. The cutscene graphics still look really good, but the regular gameplay and just the in-game cutscene graphics aren't spectacular. The voice acting is like atrocious, a lot of it, and it's just overall sort of cheesy, and you can tell it was one of the first PS2 games, what I'm trying to say. But the story, I thought, was really captivating, and it really struck like an emotional chord with me. And that's almost the only reason it's on this list. I mean, there's some other good stuff. There's some really good characters, like Aaron, and, Aaron. And there's some good music. There's some other decent stuff about it, but I think the story was the main reason I picked it at number 2 on my all-time games list. It provided, its ending especially, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it provided some of the most emotional moments I've ever had from any game. Number 1 is Final Fantasy VII. It's such a common choice, I think, and it really reflects how good the game really is. It is, approaching 15 years old. It'll be 15 years old this year, and I still think it's the best game I've ever played. And the thing is, it isn't nostalgia. Like, I didn't play it when I was like 6. I only got it right about a year ago. I got it in March 2011. I first bought it off the PSN store. And even though the graphics are really bad now, other than that, it's almost flawless, I think. There are some plot holes, not a ton, but but it's hard to write like a really complex story like that and not have a couple like holes and loose ends and stuff. They did a pretty good job tying it all up, and the graphics obviously are just atrocious. They are really bad. But other than those two things, I think the game was almost perfect. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's the story combined with I like almost all the characters. I think I do like almost all of them. I don't like Kate Sith. I really hate Kate Sith. But the rest of them are at least tolerable, and I love the music. I love the world they inhabit. Almost everything about it. I really like Final Fantasy VII. Well, that's it for my top 15. And I'm just gonna list some of the other games that are honorable mentions. They're still really good, but they didn't quite make my list. Starting with River City Ransom, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VI, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, Mirror's Edge, Bully, Half-Life 2, Soul Calibur 2, Street Fighter 2, Medal of Honor Rising Sun, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, Lunar the Silver Star, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Super Mario Galaxy, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty World at War, Chrono Trigger, Hotel Dusk Room 215, Mario Kart DS, Civilization 5, Bad Company 2, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Bros., and Super Mario 64.